Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and in patch 9.1, Blizzard added a variety of different buffs for mainly more PvP specs in order to hopefully make them better in a PvP environment. A lot of specs got buffed, from Mistweaver Monks to Fury Warriors and Frost Mages. However, not a lot of these buffs have resulted in these specs becoming more popular. Frost Mages still struggle to compete damage-wise against Fire Mages, even some Arcane Mages, and they're definitely not the strongest class in the game, the likes of Red Paladins, Arms Warriors, Windwalker Monks, Assassin Rogues, Beastmaster Hunters, and many more. Not to say the Frost Mages are terrible for PvP, they have constant slows, billion roots, polymorphs, spell steals, double ice block, so they have great control, it's just their damage was a bit underwhelming. With a little bit of help, I found the burst that works for me the best. If you guys want to see the setup, that'll be done towards the end of the video. As per usual, if you watch these videos, most of you guys are not subscribed. Subscribe, hit the bell since you watch these videos anyway. Otherwise, enjoy the video. When it comes to trying out this burst damage, I tried a lot of things. I tried using Icelands, since there's so much synergy with Icelands, the variety of buffs and debuffs in order to buff the damage of that ability. In dungeons and raids, Icelands is majority of your damage, especially if you set it as a cleave. But for PvP, it just didn't feel like it was enough damage. It's nice when it's there as a proc to help finish off an enemy, especially if you want to keep moving while being able to cast them, but I found that trying out for Icelands to be majority of your burst in such a short succession just didn't net out the damage that I wanted to see. I tried even weird bursts, like taking a PvP talent where upon using Nova, your Cone of Cold does 600% more damage, and finding ways to try to make it part of that Kyrian damage synergy, where Kyrian I found to be the best burstiest build if you're trying to do good single target damage to somebody. Not an amazing PvP covenant by any measure, but if you are trying to cheese burst, this would be your best option. And while you can execute it, and it's fairly easy if you do have the procs and mobility to get the close to an enemy and blast them with a Cone of Cold, while it is quite a bit of damage, it just doesn't have as much of a pop as the potential 2 Frostbolts in a row burst. What I found worked best, and I had some help with this, is to go for double Frostbolt in a row. If you're a fully PvP geared mage with maybe an on-use trinket, going for the full Kyrian burst, this is more or less what you would use. The setup requires you to get a Brain Freeze proc, and there's even talents that give you guaranteed Brain Freeze procs, so getting the Brain Freeze shouldn't be super difficult. What you do is you go for Kyrian Radiant Spark ability into Flurry. Flurry is going to stack up Kyrian Spark, where your next two abilities are going to have extra bonus damage to it. And if you send 2 Frostbolts right afterwards on a target that's debuffed by Flurry, it's going to treat the target like as if it is frozen, so your Frostbolts are more likely to shatter for more damage and for a guaranteed crit. The talents we want to run to make this as part of this combo burst is Lonely Winter, Rune of Power, Ice Form, and Deep Shatter. All of these abilities are going to amp up the damage of our Frostbolt for a quick succession. The rest of the talents are more of a comfort pick. You could pick up Ebonbolt to guarantee some frozen procs here and there instead of trying to fish for them with Frostbolts, but the rest of the talents don't necessarily feed as part of your burst. For legendaries, most will run Trojan Ward since mages are pretty squishy, and Triple Shield is really nice because it makes you super tanky. But if you do want to do the most damage, Disciplinary Command, I think, is the only legendary that Frost mages have that can amp up your burst damage, even though that damage is already not super high. As a Kyrian Mage, we are using Radiant Spark in order to amp up the damage of our Frostbolt, so if you run Ire of the Ascended Conduit, it'll further empower those double Frostbolt crits. Overall, I found this build actually genuinely fun. This is very cool. In terms of trying to see if Frost Mages can actually do decent damage, they can in very specific scenarios. Now, this is obviously not an amazing foolproof build because you can get interrupted on your Frostbolts, and when you're interrupted, your damage is kind of out of the window. But I guess the saving grace for this build is you can essentially do this burst every 30 seconds or once a minute. So at least there's a lot of opportunities for you to have a go. It's really easy to shut down. Also, dropping down and not using the extra pet does reduce some of your control, especially with roots. So if melees are sitting on you and just training you down, it is going to become very annoying. But this was fun, and I'm hoping that Blizzard does something more for Frost Mages in the future. They're genuinely fun to play, and I kind of miss how much burst damage they could do. And a lot of players were excited at the beginning of Shadowlands for Frost Mages to make a return. There was a legendary that quite a few people were running where you would permanently root enemies in your Frost Nova, and then you can just shatter Frostbolts and Ice Lances at them over and over. In some way, I wish that playstyle would return because it at least made Frost Mages viable. Where I remember in Battle for Azeroth, not a lot of people played them. In Legion, they were there, but it was majority predominantly fire, dominating any kind of conversation, be it PvE or PvP. Frost Mages were pretty good in raids, pretty good in dungeons, and they are pretty good right now. It's so weird to see this playstyle that was so iconic during Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria, spawning countless amount of montages by many mages, just kind of never be able to recover ever since those days. It's a tougher spec to play compared to Fire, where Blessed and Fire Blast and Pyroblast during combustion is far easier than going for any Frost Mage setups with just how much casting you need. And I really do hope that someone in Blizzard, either for 9.1.5 or if anything for 9.2, takes a hard look at Frost Mages and does something about them. But if you wanted to play a spec that's needlessly complicated, but maybe it's your favorite, maybe you want to try something different, something new, especially with the fact that Covenants will be easier to swap in 9.1.5, maybe Frost Mage will be for you. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think about the video and the burst build. I know it's not the biggest damage that a Frost Mage can do compared to every other class out there, but this is the best that I can do with this spec as of this moment. If you guys got suggestions what builds I should check out, leave them in the comments down below. Or if you enjoyed this video, simply give it a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Helps out the channel tremendously. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a good one, and I'll see all of you in the next one.